Remember the fight between Barry and SAVITAR? Well, then you must also remember the time when the Flash met Supergirl. You know what? Enough talking. Let's jump straight into it. Don't swipe or click away, because here are 10 most rewatched moments of The Flash. Number 10. The Flash meets Supergirl. With over 11.7 million views on YouTube, yeah, we'd say that this is one of the most rewatched seasons from The Flash. If you remember, this was the time when Cisco invented that special contraption on Barry's chest that amplified his speed to unprecedented rates. Not wanting to draw attention to himself, Barry went to the Keystone City billboard and decided to try out the new gadget. At first, everything was fine. Barry was running at speeds that we've never seen before, and Cisco's computer read that all his vital signs are in check. But then, Barry disappeared from the map and traveled through time. He went to Earth 38, and this is where he actually met Supergirl. At first, he didn't even notice he had traveled through time and space, so when he zapped across town and saved a girl that seemed to be falling off a building, not being able to stop immediately, he brought this girl out in the middle of nowhere, and she wasn't even bothered by the fact that her clothes were on fire. And why should she? She's invincible. But Barry didn't know that, and he realized they were both superheroes when Supergirl showed Barry she could fly faster than him. Number 9. Barry meets his son. Well, Season 7 was chock full of surprises, and the one thing that Barry wasn't expecting was to see not only his daughter Nora, but also his son Bart travel back in time to visit his dad. When Barry was at the depths of his despair, thinking that he would never see Iris again, Nora dropped in to give him some encouragement. She assured him that Iris would be fine and that everything works out for the best in the future. But then, Nora gave Barry a little surprise. You see, she brought Bart, or Impulse, back from the future, and the kid was stoked to be reunited with his pops. That's what he said Barry liked to be called in the future. And to say that this kid is chaotic and unpredictable would be an understatement of the century. Number 8. Barry's full speed unleashed. Again, Season 7 was da bomb when it comes to epic movie scenes. For example, this one got 7.7 million views on YouTube, and it keeps growing. Barry and Eobard Thawne were brawling it out to the death, and let's just say that Eobard didn't know what he got himself into. Before they started the fight, Barry kindly told him to back away, but Eobard was drunk with power and rage, so he thought that he could take down the Flash like before. Apparently, someone was working on his speed. As soon as he flinched his arm and started to attack, Barry grabbed him and threw him across the room. He didn't even know what happened at that moment, so he asked the Flash for a quick briefing. The Flash told him to smash that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, in all seriousness, the Flash told him that he got faster as time passed, whereas Eobard remained at the same power level. Needless to say, he ran away from the fight like a scaredy cat.
I'm only gonna say this once. Walk away. Why you still can't. Alan.
Number 7. Black Flash kills Reverse Flash. With 1.4 million views on YouTube, this is one of the most iconic scenes of Eobard Thawne. Now, it wasn't Tom Cavanaugh who played Eobard this time, but the actor brought the same negative energy to the character as the original actor. Now, the reason this scene is so popular isn't because of the death of Eobard. No, it's because of the Black Flash. This was the first time we got to see just how fast the Black Flash actually is. The speedster, who couldn't be outrun by anyone, was captured before running 50 feet by this ghastly-looking speedster who's the personification of death. Because he's the speedster responsible for capturing other speedsters that mess with the Speed Force, he has to be the fastest one alive. And now, we all know just how fast he is. Number 6. Zoom turned into Black Flash. Speaking of the Black Flash, we have to talk about the origin of this deadly creature, one of the most popular and rewatched scenes of the entire show. It happened at the end of Season 2, when Zoom tried to destroy the planet with a special weapon. Barry stopped him, but he wasn't powerful enough to defeat him. That's where the Time Wraiths came in. They took Zoom and turned him into the Black Flash, a zombified speedster that's the incarnation of death itself. Black Flash is supposed to be faster than any other speedster on the planet, so that he can catch other speedsters that mess around with the Speed Force. Have to admit, watching Zoom punished like that put a little smile on our face, after killing Barry's father, who just came home from prison after being wrongfully accused. Number 5. Flash meets Kid Flash. At the beginning of Season 3, Barry travels through time yet again, and he got to meet the Kid Flash, aka Wally West. Now, when they met, Wally didn't really know who Barry was, and he was too busy fighting off a bad guy to sit around and chat. When he fell from the building, Barry managed to save him, remove his mask, and finally realized that it was Wally West. He was stoked, but Wally didn't recognize him. Number 4. Felicity's clothes on fire. And we're back with the big numbers. This scene got a jaw-dropping 8.2 million views on YouTube, so we had to include it here. It's a scene where Flash wanted to show Felicity what he's capable of by zapping her across the city. But as soon as they arrived at Star Labs, sparks began to fly. Literally. As she quickly took off her shirt to avoid getting third-degree burns, she said, quote, "I'm glad I didn't decide to go braless." As she was covering herself with her purse, Cisco and Caitlin walked in and Barry introduced them to Felicity, to which Cisco replied, "I'll always remember this." Number 3. SAVITAR vs. Jay Garrick. Now, this is one of the most watched scenes for all the wrong reasons. They wanted to show the power of SAVITAR as well as his speed, so they pinned him against Jay Garrick. Now, the fight scene wasn't bad per se, but the VFX were. Now, we get it, it's a TV show. They don't get the budget for those major Hollywood movies like Avengers, but still, we couldn't help but notice that Jay Garrick looked like a spaghetti noodle as SAVITAR was wiping the floor with him. Thank God there were those intermittent real-life scenes thrown in there. Otherwise, this would have looked really bad. Number 2. The Flash vs. SAVITAR. Regardless of how poor the quality of the previous clip was, this clip got 10 million views because it was the first time we actually got to see SAVITAR. He was still thrashing and pounding Barry after wiping out his entire team, but the VFX were much better. So, since this was at the start of the season, we're going to assume that they blew their budget on many of the first scenes. After all, this clip does show SAVITAR running across Central City, and Barry couldn't even move a muscle. The graphics were perfect, and we could clearly see SAVITAR pounding Barry to a pulp. Maybe this should have been smeared a little. Talk about embarrassing. Number 1. Crossover. The most popular scene from The Flash, which got over 20 million views on YouTube, isn't actually from The Flash. Sure, The Flash is in it, but it's actually from the crossover episodes where Team Arrow, Team Legends, Team Flash, and Supergirl all fought against the Dominators. While all the superheroes were busy fighting the aliens, Firestorm used all of his powers to actually transmute the Mega Bomb into a puddle of water. And at the very last second, he managed to do so. On a related note, which of these scenes was your favorite? You can tell us in the comments section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys.